It's a train wreck. It's a mess. I'm so over it. I want to stop watching, but it feels like I've already invested time. I got in on the ground floor at season 1. This is going to be more of a ranty video, just getting my feelings out, just venting to you and anyone that feels similar, hopefully. And if you're not ready for some critiquing, for some negative energy, or if this is your favorite show of all time or something, this might not be the video for you. But I imagine a lot of Bravo fans and Valley fans feel similar to me, so I just need to get it out there. I am annoyed with the Valley. Welcome back to the Miscellaneous channel where we do miscellaneous things. I'm Zeleny. I typically cover TV, pop culture, internet trends, and other miscellaneous things on this channel, so subscribe if that's your vibe. Today, I want to complain. I just want to rant about this TV show I have been watching this summer, this year. It has just pissed me off to the point where I'm like, why am I even watching? And I can't really answer that question, but I just want to talk about The Valley. Season 2 on Bravo. So I'm typically more of a Netflix TV show commentator rather than a Bravo. I am a bit of a Bravo baby, maybe a Bravo toddler. I don't know what you would call me, but I got into Bravo semi-recently. I dove into the entire Vanderpump Rules catalog and became a huge fan. It was post-Scandal, but I deep dove into it all. I also went back and watched Shaws of Sunset and was really into that. I've watched a little bit of Housewives of Salt Lake City. This year I've been watching Next Gen NYC, so I feel like I'm waist deep into Bravo, whereas like a couple years back I had maybe like dipped a toe in once or twice. So I had just binged all of Vanderpump Rules through season 10, through Scandal, and I was primed and ready when season 11 was premiering, and then they announced there would be a new spin-off show called The Valley that followed some ex-Vanderpump Rules cast members in this new phase of their lives. It had a lot of promise. I enjoyed season 1 of The Valley. I wasn't obsessed completely. I didn't love it, but I was invested enough that I was like, okay, I'm excited for a new season. I'll watch it, sure. There was some interesting drama with the new characters. I cared about them enough to follow them along, you know, on the journey. But then season 2 started, and it got just worse and worse and worse as it went on. The weird thing to me and why I wanted to talk about it is because it's like very early to be falling apart the way The Valley is. Like right now, season 2, it should be hitting its stride. It should have, you know, worked out the kinks from season 1. It should be like improving, you know? And as I'm recording this, like the finale aired last night. That's why my anger is so fresh on my mind. I just watched the finale last night, and we're heading into 3 weeks of reunions for some reason. I just feel like the show is like broken beyond repair at this point. Maybe it just was never a strong enough concept, a strong enough cast, a strong enough production team, producer. The producer of The Valley has gotten a lot of heat too, Alex Baskin. He's made the most questionable decisions on Vanderpump Rules are attributed to him, and he is running The Valley. His producing preferences are just really not aligned with audiences and what we want to see, and they're very much about like redemption for a lot of the shitty toxic guys on these shows. Let me just go through my list of what I hated about this season of The Valley. There's so much, I don't even know where to start. So I'm just gonna pick one, and I don't know whose production decision this is, but The Valley is always trying to make all this goofy editing to like distract us from the nothing going on in the scene. Like one of these moments where they're like quirky sitcom intro and or whatever, like that kind of thing, and they would do that on Vanderpump Rules, but on Vanderpump Rules, it was fun because shit was actually happening and was interesting. But in the Valley, it's not fooling me. A little goofy montage of them being quirky or like putting a filter on them is not gonna work on me. I know nothing's happening. And also, there are so many times when on the Valley they like flash back to scenes that we never see. Like there was a whole drama and the audiences were so confused by like in their Hawaii trip, Luke had like this fight or something, this thing in the hallway, and they like flash back to it in a future episode like a little bit, but we don't really see much of it. And Bravo does this pretty often where they will flash back to a scene that we didn't actually see the scene, and it's just like to provide a little context to what's going on in the future scene. And in the Valley, it's just a lot more confusing. For like how boring a good amount of the scenes are, like at least show us some of these action moments that you're flashing back to for some reason. Show them to us when they're happening instead of, you know, the 50th conversation between Scheana and Janet while they're getting their hair done. And the last thing on the editing is like the Valley and the Valley After Show, they love to flash back to Vanderpump Rules because their show is giving nothing. So that's all we have. Any little reference anyone makes to like something in the past that was shown on Vanderpump Rules, I guarantee you they will play a flashback of Vanderpump Rules just to fill the time, I'm assuming. It was probably not the best thing to start with the editing, but like I just feel like this friend group is not much of a friend group. And that was the thing this season. The group was very divided. It reminded me a lot of Vanderpump Rules season 11, which I also hated. And I also made a video about how it was super broken. But for Vanderpump Rules, it makes sense. It was on season 11. The cast had like totally outgrown each other. It had been a decade. Irreparable damage had been done, yada yada. But like for the Valley, they have no excuse. They're on season 2. They were a group of friends just in season 1 a year ago. So it's like, what the hell happened? I feel like a lot of the cast of the Valley is too old, too smart, and too not super rich to be interesting reality TV characters, if that makes sense. I'm not saying too old in like an ageist way. I'm saying they're too old as in like too smart, too wise. They're just very calculated because they are older and wiser and they know how they want to come across. They've dealt with audiences before, some of them have, and they want to be careful about how they are portrayed, and that just leads to weird like trying to cause drama, but then backtracking, but then it's like too studied. Like half of them have been on these shows for so long, they know how the game works and they're trying to like game the system. And the new people have been very adjacent to this world. They've been around for the Vanderpump Rules stuff, so they have a degree of knowledge that someone brand new like coming onto beginning Vanderpump Rules, it's just not going to be aware of how your actions on the show have real life consequences. And so it just feels like they are all very in their head and they're too old to like be manipulated, you know, carefully by producers or, you know, nudged by Lisa Vanderpump on, you should do this, you should confront this, you should do that. Like, I just feel like when you're of a certain age, you know who you are, know what you want, and you're not going to fall for these little tricks that younger people probably would fall for. And also, I do feel like they're all kind of rich, but not rich enough to not give a fuck, which I feel like the housewives have that on lock. Like, they're old, they are sure of themselves, they know what they want, but they're so rich, it just feels like they don't care if the public likes them or hates them. Like, they're rich already and they're fine. They love themselves and their lives. The Valley people are on this threshold of like adults that aren't like super rich yet, but have some money and they don't want to fuck up the paycheck, but they also still want to be liked and still thinking of like opportunities and like appearances and stuff. And like audiences pick up on that immediately and it's not fun to watch at all. I think that's a lot of the core issue with like everyone individually. And then as far as the group is very divided because they have beef with each other. Like Kristen and Zack hate Janet, and everyone hates Jax, and then other people are like in the middle or choosing sides. I think age is also a factor here in that, like, in real life, these people would just like stop being friends because they would both be like, you know what, this person is annoying and I hate them, so I'm never gonna hang out with them again. That's what someone of their age that has all these like big priorities of like children, raising children, and, you know, maintaining a household, all these things, working in real life, you would just stop being friends. Like, your time at that stage of life is very precious, and you just would never choose to share it or go on a trip with your ex-husband, with your frenemy, with the bitch you hate. Like, why would anyone do that in real life? So for me, it's really hard as the audience to like suspend my disbelief of like, oh yeah, these people are a friend group. They're just not. I do believe they have history, like individual relationships with each other to various degrees of closeness. But I don't think as a group, they're like this friend group. And I honestly feel like at their stage of life, it's hard to like maintain a big friend group. It's so hard with busy schedules and kids. The hangouts we do see and the events we see on this show just feel so forced. And not just because some of the people hate each other, but like they're just not events I picture these types of people doing and putting on. And some people might be into these types of events, but the cast tells us themselves when they're doing the corny events they do, they're like, I don't want to be here. I feel like this season, especially, so many times there were people that didn't want to be there, and they were saying it, and I'm like, then why are any of us here? Why am I here watching this? Why? If you don't even want to be there, like the go-kart racing thing, like, I don't think these people would put that on in real life. And again, some people out there might love this kind of stuff and it's whatever, but like these people verbally state that they don't want to be there. Like the field day thing especially, and for every Bravo show, it operates this way of like, they have to do exciting, weird events that are interesting, you know, for the TV show. I get that, but like, I like it when I can forget about that as an audience member and just like be immersed in it and not feel like they're forced to be there. Because at the field day thing especially, it clicked for me like, they hate this and don't want to be there. And I'm just like, then why are you participating or doing this event? For the finale, the big finale, was Michelle throwing a Zen party? Okay, I guess. What does that even mean? And they kept doing the goofy editing with Zen party and trying to make it a thing. And I'm like, that's not going to make it more exciting. I'm so sorry. It's like, this is just an excuse for everyone to argue in a cute dress, I guess. The themes and the reasons for the events and the trips are just have gotten so forced that like, I just can't even pretend to suspend my disbelief that like they want to be there, they would do this at all if they weren't on camera. Even Kristen's engagement party, Brittany was mad that Nia and Danny weren't showing up yet to the party, and she's like, if they don't have to be here, I don't have to be here either. And it's just like, they're just treating it like a job, and it is a job, but like, I don't like when I can tell that it's a job. Like, I know it is for every Bravo show, but like, the magic happens when I forget they have to go on a trip every season, you know, when I forget they have to have a party in the finale, when I forget like attendance is required at certain events. With the Valley, they just make it so hard because the cast is over here complaining, they hate it, they're criticizing. Honestly, I feel like their Dave and Buster's day, that was the most realistic. Like, yes, some suburban family people are probably going to go to Dave & Buster's. That checks out, makes sense to me. They would probably bring their kids, and they usually don't on the Valley, which is fine. Like, I get it. It just kind of breaks the realism a little bit because I know for, like, half of these hangouts, they would probably have kids around. Their friend time and family time would blend. It's like their leisure time. But I also don't want the kids more on camera because I don't want the kids exposed. And the kids is a whole other thing that makes the Valley less enjoyable to me. I feel like with kids involved, knowing these people are parents, it's hard. It's hard to think about. It feels a little dark, some more than others for sure. There is like an element of like representation, and they're, talking about parenting struggles, like Nia talking about her body and pregnancy, and Kristen going through fertility treatments and things. That's all very cool and vulnerable and interesting, honestly, like at least authentic. Some of them going through divorce and things like that. Like that shit is real, and that's where the show gets authentic. But then also seeing these people act in such a way and seeing the kids on camera, I'm just like, it's a little icky. Like they're so little. Season 1 even, like Jesse and Michelle would say really shitty things to each other in front of the daughter and things like that. And then like this season, especially like the Jacks of it all, is so dark to the point that it's not enjoyable. And I think a lot of fans feel this way, at least just about the Jax thing and him being on the show, being on TV at all. Brittany just dealing with very clear abuse. We're just watching it. It just feels gross. And I don't know. I just feel like they've outgrown it being fun anymore or being entertaining anymore. It's like they are living through dark, real shit that is only being made a lot worse by public opinion and media. But then it gets scary because it's like the less TV show and cameras are around, the more Jax is gonna act worse and worse. He treated her the worst when they were like on the hiatus between Vanderpump Rules and the Valley. So it just gets really dark and it's not fun to watch anymore. And just to hear about the constant abuse that Brittany faces is sad, especially knowing they have a small child. It's just sad all around. And like Bravo is not something I watch to be like sad and depressed. It's, goofy, dumb people acting crazy or being interesting. Jax is one really bad apple on the cast, and he did announce he's not coming back for season 3, which sounds like it's been implied it was a very encouraged decision from other external parties, as in maybe the network or whoever. But he resigned from the Valley, and I think that's, the logical move. But then without Jax, it's not like we don't have a show, because even with Jax, we don't really have much of a show. Like, yeah, his antics are not boring, but they're depressing, so I don't want to see them. And then everyone else, I'm just like, I'm not that excited by. Let me name them. Let me go through them. I think Jesse and Michelle are so boring. I think Jesse is a total douchebag and tool. And this season, he like tried to hide it, tried to cry, tried to like be endearing and goofy and whatever. But he's not fooling me. The things I've seen about him are just so gross, and like, I don't care about him. I think for Jax, it's like, I watched all of Vanderpump Rules, so I saw 10 years of Jax, and, he was funny at least, or interesting in Vanderpump Rules. He had funny commentary. He was super chaotic with, like, sleeping with Kristen and all that stuff. So, like, that made me invested in his journey somewhat. But for Jesse, I'm like, season 1 was not enough for me to be invested in him or care. And I remember in season 1, the other guys would say, like, you're such a douche, but you're, like, a lovable douche. And it's like, no, sorry. Maybe to you, but not to me. I have no investment in him, and he's a tool, but not even, like, in a fun villain way. Just in, like, he's a tool and he's kind of hiding it way. And then Michelle, she's giving absolutely nothing. I don't trust her much either. She's kind of just, like, snooty. And I also have no investment or loyalty to her. She hasn't done anything where I've been like, Yes, queen, stan, nothing. And I think Jesse and Michelle were interesting last season because they were married and they hated each other. And so it was kind of like this tension of like, are they going to get divorced actually for real? That's like real life shit. And we just met them. But then they did get divorced and now it's just like really nasty. And they're like co-parenting and being very messy about it and like petty with the documents and stuff. So like in real life, these people would never speak again. And they have to like go to parties together and go on trips together. And I'm like, you can't keep up this farce that they're gonna hang out. Some people can achieve it and be chill with each other, but these two people specifically are very nasty to each other. And so I find it difficult to believe they would choose to hang out. Who else is there? Of course, Janet and Jason. They were the villains kind of the season. I mean, yeah, the fans hate them. It's kind of wild, like, people hate them more than Jax, and I'm like, I don't know about all that. I don't like them, but I also don't think they should die or anything. I don't think anyone should die, to be clear, or have death threats is what I mean. You know, the fandom gets crazy. Janet is clearly very calculated and trying to like play the TV show game. She thinks she cracked the code on being a lovable character or something, and everyone can see through it and hates her. She's so chronically online, and that's what's so annoying. Like, it's best when these people are just not online and aren't reading every comment. Like, I feel like the housewives are good at that. They live in their own world, and that's what makes them so funny. Because they're not just, like, reiterating Reddit comments and Reddit insults. Like, as soon as Janet said, Zack has Lego hair, I was like, oh my gosh, she is so chronically online. Like, no one in real life would say that to your friend. I don't know. Or, I mean, no one like Janet. She's pretty, she doesn't seem like the creative insult type. And Jason is just, like, very much a yes man to Janet and just like doing her bidding and just being like a little weasel. And I didn't like him either. They had their whole drama of like tattooing the wedding band and everyone had opinions about it. And it's like, I don't care if he takes off his ring because I don't care about their lives or them as a couple. And I have zero investment. Like, if they got divorced, if they didn't, if they love each other, I'm like, okay, cool. And she made an enemy out of the most lovable characters on the show. And I think that's where the fans are pissed. And that's what I don't like about her, for sure. Who else do we got to tear apart? Nia and Danny, they're another couple. They're a lot more tolerable to me. I like them okay. I mean, whatever. I do think Danny has a problem, and I think because the people coming for him, Janet, Jason, Jax, were like the unreliable narrators of the show. But I think it was a broken clock is right twice a day situation, because I do think Danny groping someone, even if it was just once when he was blackout, that's kind of a problem. But in the finale, he said he was trying to be sober, but maybe it was just for camera. So I do think there's a grain of truth to what people are calling them out for, of like curating their persona for the cameras. Though I think they're all doing that. So it's like pot calling the kettle black, especially like someone like Janet calling, like, you're curating yourself so much and reading the comments all the time. Anyway, so Danny, I do feel questionable on. I don't like the stuff I've seen about what he's done. And Nia, I do really like. I think she's sweet. And yes, she curates an image, but she has enough vulnerable moments that I forgive it. And I do think she is sweet-natured and not like an argumentative, confrontational person. So I do feel like in her interaction, she's being true to herself. It checks out with her background. She's pageant background. So I actually like her okay. She seems like a nice lady. And it's wild they're having so many kids, so like back to back to back. But when she gave her logic that she like is trying to like get it over with and then get her body back, I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. I never even heard it put that way. But like, yeah, I guess when you're actively like having multiple children, you kind of like, your body goes through so much like up and down, up and down, up and down. It makes sense to like want to get it over with. But then it's also wild to have like all these babies running around. That's so stressful. So I commend them for dealing with that or, doing that. I don't know how to put it as a childless person, but I mean, as far as the TV show goes, they are interesting enough. They're more side characters because they're not like the biggest personalities, but at least they feel like somewhat true to themselves. I don't even know. Who's next? I already talked about Jack's dark, depressing, awful, and Brittany a bit. I mean, Brittany, I think she is an anchor to the show. I do think she's a fine reality TV character, like not always super likable to me, but without the Jack stuff, I wonder what storylines she would bring. And I don't really appreciate how she treats her friends because she's very much a ride the fence person. And that's what pissed me off about her this season, because the Jack stuff, like, yeah, he is terribly abusive and she is a victim, and that sucks to see, like, who wouldn't be on her side versus Jack's. But, like, as far as her friends go, she doesn't treat them very well. And, like, the friends that are most loyal to her, aka Zack, she, like, puts below other friends. And I just feel like it's a bit two-faced and fake, and I don't like that. So I don't like her, but as far as a character on a TV show, okay, I guess she's giving enough to, like, critique or talk about, And then I'm saving the best for last because there are a few cast members I enjoyed on this season or on this show, and unfortunately they get the least screen time. So great. I really enjoy seeing Kristen's journey. I think her fertility journey has been a roller coaster, and it was really satisfying to watch this season and know she was pregnant like the whole time. Like, not during the season, but in real life, like timing wise. I feel like watching that without her being pregnant afterwards would have been really sad to watch. She was just like really going through it with her body and fertility and her age and all the stuff. So that would have been so sad. But knowing she was pregnant, it was watching it, seeing like, oh my God, you have no idea, it's around the corner. That's so exciting for you. It's like everything she wanted. And she had her baby already and everything. That made me really happy. And seeing her get engaged to Luke, who Luke also gives nothing. Like, I am not excited by him, but also Kristen has had like the worst partner, so I'm glad she's with a boring guy. Like, at least I prefer that over her being with like an entertaining reality TV character, because she is entertaining reality TV enough for their whole relationship. So I think Luke is fine. Good for her, and they're engaged, and that was really sweet. I'm glad she didn't tell Brittany because she obviously ruined it. Ugh. And it was just so funny, her engagement. She was really trying to see the dolphins and would not turn around. That was so funny. So I just love her and her journey. And sometimes she talks shit to people or says mean things, but I don't know. I feel like she's a loyal friend and she's shown enough growth that, like, I forgive it and I want to see more of her. I just feel like we don't see her much. And then my other favorite, who is Kristen's bestie, is Zack. Like, I want a whole show about Zack, and I assume he must have like a gay friend group that is his more real friend group, I would assume. I would watch that in a heartbeat. I'm so mad there hasn't been like a good gay Bravo style show. I'm not talking about no stupid real super friends of WeHo, whatever that was, because that was fake as fuck. But there's like, just follow Zack in his real life. I just want to see like a real gay friend group. That would be fun, and I don't know, it'd be interesting. You could never make me hate Zack. I think he says crazy stuff when he's blackout drunk, but I don't think it's that crazy. Like, I feel like in his case, it's just like straight people taking life too seriously, and it's just like, you can't make me hate Zack. He's so funny. He makes great commentary. He has great judge of character. He is defending Brittany tooth and nail in every situation. She is paying him dust. And he stays loyal. We got to see a little bit like him and Benji and, a little bit of that. So, but I just want a show about him. I don't care. And Jasmine I actually liked too. I think she was a little weird this season. I think making drama out of mountains out of molehills. She was like fine with Danny and then mad he was napping, and then she called Janet a Karen, which was tea, I guess. But I don't know. She would just like go very like up and down with how she felt about things. Like maybe she's just playing it up for screen time or something at certain points, or she just gets drunk and just wants to pick a fight for the fun of it. I found out very recently that she was a former DCC, which is huge for me. Only probably, well, whatever. Other fans of DCC making the team and America's Sweetheart on Netflix now will get it, but I was like, this bitch has been in the reality TV game so long, and she was also on The Bachelor, and she kind of had some wild moments there, and I'm like, all this interesting history, and like, we never hear from her, we never hear any personal life things. We saw her girlfriend a bit this season, and she was around, but like, they're kind of just background characters a lot of the time. Someone who survived the scrutiny of Kelly and Judy in Texas, in Dallas, like, that's an interesting person. I want to hear more. I think her actions were very weird this season, but all these other Valley people, they would not survive the asylum she was raised in, that Dallas Cowboys rehearsal room. I don't know how she would incorporate any of that in this. Maybe she could dance. I don't know. Like, teach them to dance. Anything. And then we have our honorary fake cast. Are they in or are they out? We don't know. It's Scheana, Brock, Lala, and Tom Schwartz. I'm just so annoyed by this. Are they in? Are they out? Do we care about them? Are we invested in their lives? Are we not? It feels like they're in almost every single episode of season 2 of The Valley. And they're in every single episode of the after show, that's for sure. All 3 of them. And Brock sometimes. Just put them on if they're on. Like if Scheana's going to have storylines, which she did in season 2, and she was like trying to confront someone at the finale party. And I was like, I don't care about this drama at all. I just want them to make a decision if they're in or out. And like, I don't even care if they're in or out. They all make okay reality TV, I guess. I would take Scheana, because she is very ingrained with the group, over the other 2. The other 2 can go. They're a chop. And Brock. The thing with Scheana, it's like, I want to say I want Scheana on the show, but I don't want Brock on the show. Like, ooh, the cheating stuff we just found out about. I hate him. So I just don't know if they're in or out. And honestly, I wonder if it's a thing of like, production is trying to find a way to like use them as much as they can without really paying them the rate of a permanent cast member. After all the stuff Scheana's revealed about like she was demoted in season 8 of Vanderpump Rules, and it sounds like all these like shady standard corporate America mind tricks to like get around paying people what they're worth. It just feels like the Valley is maybe trying to skirt around that as well, because they are really using these people to be fillers on this show, to be friends of, to cause drama, to ask questions, whatever. Yet they're not cast members. And the weirdest thing to me is the after show stuff, which the after show in and of itself, I'm just like, it's a whole extra episode every week. It's very much the Untucked of the Valley. Like, if you're not watching the after show, you're only getting half the story. It's like a mini reunion every time, so it's like you kind of have to watch it because it feels like more up to date. But it's also like we're rehashing these scenes that just don't have much to them, and these conflicts that are not that interesting. So it's like, I watch the after show, but am I excited to? No. But anyway, they use Scheana, Lala, and Schwartz on the after show. They'll give them their own segments. They'll flash it back to their Vanderpump Rules stuff. It really feels like the production's really trying to like use them, but not give them that like job security and keep them on their toes, which is shady. It's so shady, and all these productions have been very shady, and it's not surprising. Reality TV is a very, very shady industry. It was literally invented basically, or popularized because they didn't want to pay writers to write scripted TV as much. I don't know. I'm very frustrated with the Valley, and you might be wondering, why did you watch this show? You seem to really hate it. And I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm just like baseline invested in some of them. I mean, I want to see Kristen. I want to see Zack. If it was a show I had to binge, I would probably fall off. But since I watch it weekly, it's not too bad. It just, when I have a weekly show, it's nice. It's like, oh, it's Tuesday night, I'll watch The Valley. Or it's Wednesday, I'll watch The Valley. Like, it feels more bite-sized and manageable. And there's just, like, curiosity, I guess, for some of the cast members. And just to be in the loop of, like, the Bravo world to an extent, because I only watch a couple shows at a time. But still, for season 3, I probably will still watch. This is how unhinged I am. Like, why am I going to keep watching? I think just because I started from episode 1, from the pilot, and I just kept going, and it feels like, I don't want to just give up. But it kind of sounds like I should. People are going to be like, why the hell are you watching? Maybe I'm just hate watching at this point, and that's valid. Okay. This season, I thought maybe it was going somewhere, but then I watched episode after episode, and it just never did. So, yeah, this was more of a ranty video. I warned y'all. It's just a critique, and it doesn't matter if a reality TV show is bad. If it's so bad, I will stop watching it. Whatever. But I just felt like venting and spewing my negativity, and now I can go to bed at peace. Let me know if you feel the same way about the Valley, or if you disagree, if you liked it, if you liked aspects of the season, what parts did you like or didn't like, or do you feel like it still can be saved? Is it reparable? How would you fix it or improve it to make a better season 3? I feel like I struggle with finding a solution. Like, usually I like to think of how it could be fixed, but I just think if you're staying true to real life in any way, it's just like these people would not speak again, would not hang out. And like, they would keep certain individual relationships, but as a group, there's just not much group chemistry there. There's not anything organic to like bring them together. It just feels forced at the end of the day. It's not that serious. It's just TV. I just wanted to have a little rant, a little vent sesh. Let me know if I should cover more Bravo. I'm a little bit more of a noob to Bravo, so I kind of like don't talk about it very often, but I am watching some of the shows. Maybe Next Gen NYC. Next Gen NYC was so fun. I don't even know what I would say about it. It was just so fun to watch, and I enjoyed it. And that one has more potential than I think even the Valley season 1 had, because they're young. They have nothing to lose. They're rich. It's just more free and authentic. I think when you involve kids and like aging parents and just more advanced life elements, it just gets so much more complicated. And I think the Valley concept just did not have as much of an engine as production or Bravo maybe would have hoped. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed. Normally I keep it more positive, and you can follow me at Miscellaneous to keep up with me, or just turn on the bell notification here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.